Hello and welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast, episode 19. I'm Logan.
And I'm Luke.
And today we're just going to be discussing comedy movies just in general.
Yep. So last season we did an episode on horror movies and we wanted to go in a different direction with that. So now we're doing comedy movies. And I'll start off just like in general, what do you look for in your favorite comedy movies? Not necessarily like what are your favorite comedy movies, because we'll go over that
we'll get later.
What do you look for in a good comedy movie?
I feel like for me, I like comedy that's like kind of out there, kind of stupid, you know what I mean? Like, not so much to where it's just like pretty much like brain rot and it's just like random stupid stuff happening for no reason, because that gets pretty old to me pretty quick. But just like, I don't know, raunchy, kind of out there, you know what I mean? I also like it when comedy movies have a good story, because I feel like a lot of times with like comedy movies, it's just like stupid for the sake of trying to be funny, and I don't love that.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of have the same thing with horror movies that I do with comedy movies too, where like some of them just like try way too hard. So there's horror movies that try really hard to be scary by just being like overly gross or stupid, or not with horror movies, but like they try to be overly gross or like put in as many classic horror themes as they can think of, and it just doesn't necessarily land. I feel like with comedy it's kind of more hit or miss than that, because like people have all sorts of different senses of humor, so like comedy in itself is more of like a niche for whoever's watching it. So I think it is definitely hard to make a good comedy movie, because I know I've put on supposed comedy movies before. I'm just like, this is just not funny to me, and other people will be like, no, I loved that. But yeah, I agree, when it's trying too hard to be just like overly stupid, I'm like, okay, like how about, I like it when it feels like a little bit like not just fart, poop, something smells like butt kind of stuff. Like that stuff has its place, but it just has to be done right, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think one of my biggest pet peeves with comedy movies, well, at least certain ones, is the like family friendly like comedy kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, I really hate that, just because like my humor, I guess, is kind of just like past that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to watch a comedy movie that I could watch with like, 10-year-olds, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I want some cussing and some stupid stuff, you know what I mean? More advanced jokes.
Yeah.
I hate the like real like soft, like lighthearted comedies. I'm like, that's not funny.
It's not necessarily for you.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah, I think for me, like, the humor that doesn't get me is when it feels like they're introducing characters that are just like recklessly over the top about stuff that just kind of like breaks up the actual like comedy of the scene. So I'm like, I can't like think of a good example of this, but I mean just like a character who comes in is just like acting crazy for no reason, or like, and sometimes that like works, but I feel like there's a lot of stupid comedy movies, like as in like the stupidity is why it's funny, where they try so hard to have a character like that who's just coming in and acting crazy and stuff, and it's like sometimes it just like turns me away from, not like I won't watch the movie and enjoy certain parts of it, but sometimes that just makes me like, I don't know.
Yeah. I do think, as far as comedy movies go, for whatever reason, I've always been a fan of like rom-coms and stuff like that. Not like necessarily like the like, I don't really know how to put it, like high school like teen romance rom-coms, stuff like that. Like not like that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, like 50 First Dates, like Adam Sandler.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, that one's so good.
Okay.
But just stuff like that where it's like, it's funny, but there's like a storyline, romance involved, and yada, yada, yada. And then I will say, I do like coming of age comedy movies and stuff like that. Not rom-coms, but just, in general. Like, I feel like, well, my favorite, and I'm sure we'll probably get to these kind of questions later on, but like my favorite comedy movie of all time is Superbad.
Oh yeah.
Just like anything like
Classic.
that, like or like Project X, anything
Yeah.
like that, like those kinds of like coming of age comedies. Love it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I think that one actor that I think I just like love to see any movie with him because I think he's, and I'm not saying like he has some stuff he can do that's like serious and like dramatic, but I think Jonah Hill is so funny in like every movie he's in. And you know he's in some like more dramatic stuff, and I like appreciate that about him is like he's not stuck with comedy even though that's like where he got his start. But even in roles where he is like kind of like dramatic, he's also brings like a certain comedic aspect to that as well. So like the main thing I'm thinking of that with is the Wolf of Wall Street. You could call it a comedy, but it's also like a drama movie. And when I saw that movie, I didn't know really what to expect. I thought it was just like about business guys who do something with the stock market that's sketchy and it crashes. And then I see Jonah Hill come in, and like the stuff with Leonardo DiCaprio in itself is funny, and they go so over the top with like the craziness of like Wall Street and like stockbrokers and stuff. And I'm like, it's crazy how well that they captured that, and they literally cast Jonah Hill, who I can watch super bad, and his character's just like cussing up a storm, just goofy, like the butt of jokes. And I'm not saying I know like Jonah Hill's like been insecure about that before, so but I do think he does a good job of like being a good sport when it comes to like if he is the butt of the joke, and like making other people the butt of the joke and stuff like that. But yeah, I think Jonah Hill is probably one of my favorite comedy actors because I just always know I'm gonna see something at least semi-funny with him in it.
Yeah, I think the same because also like in like his other stuff like the Jump Street movies, both of them,
Yeah.
super funny in that. And that also brings me to another person who's like underrated as a comedy actor is Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I feel like Channing Tatum, like obviously he's been in like comedies and stuff before, but like I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, like Channing Tatum, he's hot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's the hot guy, which you know he is good looking and all that, and like he fits those roles when he plays them. But also I'm like, dude, he is so funny. You put him in any kind of like funny role,
Yeah.
he nails it.
I really don't think I've seen Channing Tatum in like that serious of roles anywhere. I honestly think like the most serious role, and this is like so bizarre of me to say that I've seen him in, is as Gambit in Deadpool 3, and like even in that he's just like hilarious. So
Yeah.
like, with Channing Tatum, I really guess I haven't seen a whole lot of movies with him in it. I've seen the 21, 22 Jump Street. He's in Free Guy briefly, and then Deadpool 3. I'm sure with a little time I could think of some more stuff I've seen him in, but I agree. Anytime I've seen him, he's definitely got some comedy chops on him. Yeah. But I was gonna, in a broader scope, who do you think are like some classic comedy actors where it's like they're known for their comedy that you know you're gonna get something at least semi good out of?
So I would say the big ones. Well, obviously Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler is like one of the like goats of comedy
Absolutely.
movies. Jim Carrey also up there.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's got some real like iconic ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as the more of his movies I've watched, there's some that don't land with me right, but I think Will Ferrell's sense of humor is hilarious, especially in movies like Semi-Pro and like Ron Burgundy and stuff like that. Just because you can tell while he's in character as the characters he's created and that he's like, this is so stupid what I'm about to say that's gonna be funny. So I appreciate that about Will Ferrell. And then one more that I'd put like that is that I think Steve Carell is hilarious in like most roles that he does. And I know he's done some serious stuff, especially more recently, but like in his comedy roles, I think he really shines.
Yeah, I agree. I think somebody who was in a lot of comedy stuff that I feel like didn't get like, I don't know, he's just like a well-known actor in general, But especially in like the mid 2000s, he was in quite a few comedy roles. I feel like that's Owen Wilson. I feel like anytime I watch an old Owen Wilson comedy, I'm like, yeah, like that's the stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of Owen Wilson too, I'll pair him with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller.
Vince Vaughn,
like that group.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a good movie, and I don't know if have you seen Starsky and Hutch?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the first time I watched it, I don't think I liked it that much, and then my dad likes that movie, so he had it on at one point, and I was just like, man, this is way funnier than I remember, and I think their sense of humor bounces off one another like so well.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of that, I think there's a lot of now that I say this, I'm not going to be able to think of that many off the top of my head, but I think there's a lot of duos that get a lot of good comedy riffs and a lot of comedy movies together. So like Seth Rogen and James Franco, obviously, and then there's like Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, and even bringing up all of them, like they'll appear in other comedians' movies and stuff. And I feel like there's never really been a bad combo of comedians that I've seen before. But yeah, I think when you have like a duo like that in a movie, I think it really gets you kind of on board right away with like, oh, I know exactly what to expect from what I'm about to see, you know?
Yeah. I just saw somebody who's like one of the newer comedy duos.
Yeah.
The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Yeah. Just by like their demeanor alone, like The Rock is real like I feel like he's goofy, but in like he's like stoic, but in a goofy way. And then he has like his own goofy bits he can run. And then Kevin Hart's just kind of funny, like overall, you know. But yeah, do you have any comedy movies that you can point to where you're like a bunch of people love this movie, but you've never really been able to get it?
Man, I'm trying to think. I wasn't prepared for that one.
Yeah. No, this is the thing with comedy movies is there's so many
I know.
comedy actors where we'll probably finish the episode and be like, oh, I forgot to say this one.
I do know one right off the top of my head. And it went, I mean, a lot of people know this movie and like a lot of people love it. And then it went viral like a year or two ago. And I've always just thought it was so stupid. I never understood. But Zoolander...
Oh, really?
Never got it. I've seen it a few times, and every time I'm just like, man, like this just ain't for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I actually like that movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen the second one because I feel like that's not one that I necessarily need to see, but I definitely do like the first one. I think the fact that they lean so hard into like the stupidity that you're about to witness, just like, is a good strength of that as a comedy movie. I'm trying to think if I have any movies where I just don't get why people think it's funny. I wasn't the biggest fan of Pineapple Express with Seth Rogen and James Franco.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one's a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the best thing that I've ever watched. I'm kind of with you on that. I think that one's more so less on the comedy and more just on the pure stoner movie.
Yeah. And that stuff, I feel like so many Seth Rogen movies are exactly like this seems like a stoner movie. So like the another one that comes to mind for me there's like This Is the End. Just the humor in that is so like goofy and stupid with that group of people. But yeah, do you have any comedy movies that you really like that other people don't really seem to enjoy?
Well, one of my favorite comedy movies ever, and I've talked about it before because it was the first rated R movie I've ever watched. It's a Seth Rogen movie. It's Paul. And I don't really know how like well receptive that movie is because like no one really talks about it, but I've always loved it. And like I don't know, I mean, I've seen people say, like, oh, yeah, like, that movie was kind of funny. And I've seen people like, oh, that movie was trash. But I feel like it's just kind of like, there's not really like like, they don't like it or, oh, they love it. Like, just nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like whenever I bring that up, everybody's like, what is that?
Yeah. I think one movie I have like that, and this one's kind of like, I think it's hit and miss depending on the people. But one movie I've actually heard a lot of people say they don't like, as much as I've also heard people say they like it, is Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
I think that movie is so funny, and I know there's a lot of people out there who just don't like it. Mm-hmm. And then whenever I hear that, when I used to hear it, I'd be like, how can you not think this is hilarious? But that movie does kind of have like a gross sense of humor at times where I get people just being like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one that's not for everybody, but I think some of the jokes in that movie are just so funny, and like I can just like think of it at any random time and be like, that is so stupid that I actually think that's hilarious. And just by thinking about it, I'll make myself laugh.
Yeah. I feel like with me, like, I don't know, what I like in terms of like comedy movies and humor and stuff really just depends on, well, like I said before, there's a couple types I can't stand. But like usually like the stupid stuff, you know what I mean, I think's funny. The raunchy stuff is funny, like American Pie and all that kind of different stuff. Like I think that's funny. But I feel like the biggest thing for me is like it depends on who's doing it and who's in it. And then like what it's about. You know what I mean? Sure. Like that like does a lot for me. And then I was about to say something else, but I don't remember what it was. It'll probably come to me 2 hours from now after we're done.
Probably, yeah. Well, I'll bring up one movie that I've always thought is so funny, and it's Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, dude.
I feel like I always forget about like that group of people. There's like Andy Samberg and Bill Hader are like so well known now, and that other guy, they're like crazy friends in it. I forget what his name is, but he's in a ton of stuff now. Yeah. The guy from The Fist Away. Yeah. Probably the stupidest
why movie. I can't think of his name either.
Yeah.
He's so famous, too.
He is. Man. But that movie has got such a stupid comedic shtick to it. And I feel like the first time I watched it, I was like, I've never seen a movie with like this stupid of like an idea, and like some of the jokes in it are just like out of nowhere for no reason. Yeah. So that to me is like a version of a movie that's like the comedy is so stupid at certain points that it works because some of it seems like it should be serious, but it's just stupid. Yeah. Yeah. I have one movie, and this is actually good timing to bring it up. The new Naked Gun movie's coming out soon. I think in terms of a movie getting so stupid that it hurts the actual comedy aspect of it, that the first original Naked Gun movie is just stupid enough that it doesn't ruin it for me with like that being the thing of the jokes. Like the first Naked Gun movie I think is so funny, and I've watched it a lot since I like grew up, and like my dad thinks it's really funny too, so he showed it to me probably at too young of an age, but even now, for that movie being on the older end of things, that movie is hilarious. Like I could turn it on and be laughing really hard about it. And then I'll give one more movie that is just like a classic comedy movie to me. Not so much the sequels, but the first Austin Powers movie I think is top tier comedy.
I will say that is one thing. So like, there's like, I guess you could call it like the like Adam Sandler-esque kind of like genre, like Will Ferrell also, where it's like, here's a movie, here's a story, there's, you know, stupid people doing stupid stuff in it. Yeah. And like the funny people make the movie funny. I mean, there's like obviously like storyline, like plot points and like scenarios that also help with like it being funny. But like most of it's just revolved around like funny people being in it, making it funny. Yeah. But as like the new like Naked Gun or like Austin Powers and like the old Naked Gun and all that too, or like a lot of like Seth MacFarlane comedy.
Oh yeah.
It like relies on like actual jokes, like jokes being made in the movie, like even if it's like out of place. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it relies on like legitimate like jokes.
Jokes, like something that's set up in a punchline. Instead of it just being stupid.
Yeah.
Making you laugh. I think in talking about comedy writers, I think And I'm thinking of him mostly because, like, you know, Seth MacFarlane, you think Seth MacFarlane, you immediately think of, like, Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I Family Guy, I think, is, like, hilarious, but, like, we won't get into that because that's, like, TV shows. That's for another time. But his sense of humor, especially coming through movies and stuff like Ted and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
he very much is skilled at, like, the setup and then knocking it out of the park with just a incredible joke.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of, like, comedy writers, because I know a lot of comedy writers are the actors you see in the movie, like, they're responsible for what you're witnessing, but, like, with him a lot of times not even necessarily being the main person, like, he does a good job with that.
Yeah. Well, because, like, even when he's, like, in the, like, A Million Ways to Die in the West, stuff like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, him himself in the movie, like, he's not even, like, super funny. You know what I mean? Like, Jim Carrey is, like, just hilarious all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Adam Sandler's hilarious all the time. Him himself, you don't see him and, like, oh, yeah, like, that's a funny guy. But, like, he wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
He made these jokes. He is
jokes.
hilarious. It's just him himself, like, as he's not, like, the funny actor. He's just, like,
Yeah.
his writing, he's skilled at making
I think
funny
he's got
things.
a good combination of, like, coming up with a good joke and then finding the right person and the right way to deliver it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, with A Million Ways to Die in the West, that's the title, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember this movie, like, super well, but I remember I liked it for the comedy. I don't remember necessarily thinking, like, oh, Seth MacFarlane is so funny in this movie, but you can see his humor through every character and every single thing that happens in that movie is just, like, straight up Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have... This is something that I'll kind of, like, break into here. I feel like in recent years, it is harder and harder for new good comedy movies to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you'll have your family-friendly, like, Pixar movies come out, always have, like, jokes and stuff in them. You can think it's funny at any age and whatnot. But I do feel like in the past, like, 5-10 years, it's a lot harder to find a good movie that's straight up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see, like, do you have any in the past 10 years that you think are, like, outliers to that? Because I'm sure there's some, and I'm sure even with time I think of them. It's just harder to think.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking, like, is there anything, like, here from, like, recent that I'm thinking about that's, like, super funny?
Yeah.
Because also I'm trying to think, like, when did all the movies come out? Like, the, like, remake of, like, the Jumanjis and stuff, those were funny. Yeah. I mean, almost any, like, Kevin Hart and, like, Rock movie is funny.
Yeah. I just can't really think of anything that was, like, a huge knockout of the park. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too.
Yeah, and I'm probably thinking, like, in a smaller time frame than I think I am, because I know movies like The Interview, I'm pretty sure came out when I was in, like, middle school. So I'm like, okay, so less than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe just about 10 years ago.
Right around then. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have always thought The Interview is very funny.
Oh yeah, me too.
Just, like, the utmost stupidity of James Franco in that movie never gets old to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know somebody else who I feel like is, like, underrated as a comedy actor?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been they've been kind of on the come up. They've been in a lot more, like, comedy movies and stuff. Is John Cena is very funny.
He is very funny. I don't know how to describe what his humor is.
Yeah.
It's like he knows certain expressions that he has on his face are funny.
Yeah.
But he's also just good at, like...
His delivery is very good.
It is very good. And, oh man, like, huge throwback here. Like, I feel like I have a good idea of who John Cena was and was, like, introduced to him in a comedy movie. Is way back to, like, the Fred movies when he's Fred's imaginary dad. Oh, man. But yeah, do you have any comedy-specific actors that you specifically, that actor, I've never really thought is all that funny?
Oh man, this is a hard one. This is also going to be very controversial.
Yeah. I have one that I think he's funny. Like, I don't watch his movies and get disappointed in his humor. and I like his characters in the movies, but I'm not watching it to laugh because he's in it. I feel like there's a lot of Ben Stiller movies where Ben Stiller is in it, and I love Ben Stiller. I think he's good at writing comedy, and I'm not saying he doesn't have funny scenes, but I feel like a lot of times he's not the funniest character, but like the situation he's in is funny. So a good movie that I have as an example of that is, have you ever seen Tower Heist?
Yeah.
I think that my family watches that. My mom loves that movie, so I've seen it a lot. But I think like him at the center of it, he has some funny lines, but like his cast all around him, like Matthew Broderick and like Michael Pena and stuff, are just hilarious in that movie. So
I think I'm gonna be honest. This one's gonna be because it's hard because I like the movies that they're in, and there are a lot of them that are just straight up classics, and I get that. But them themselves, I'm just not really sold on. And somebody that you mentioned earlier is Will Ferrell. For whatever reason, like, I don't know. I've always been like that. Like, it's just, his style of, like, comedy and stuff just doesn't necessarily, like, hit for me.
There's a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's definitely funny. Like, he's hilarious. And there's, like, funny stuff. But it's just, like, I don't know. I've never been, like, super sold by, like, his movies.
Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of people, you talk about, like, comedy movies, a lot of people be like, oh, like, Step Brothers is hilarious. I've always thought Step Brothers is funny, but it's not necessarily, like, my favorite comedy movie. I don't go super far out of my way to watch it, but if somebody's like, let's throw this on, I'm like, okay. And jumping on that, one actor I think that's underrated in comedy that's in a lot of Will Ferrell movies is I think John C. Reilly's very funny, too.
I do, too.
Yeah. I think he gets overshadowed by it being Will Ferrell a lot. But I think he himself is also very funny.
If any of you watching this want to watch a fantastic movie that goes under the radar, Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story. It's John C. Reilly, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. I have not had the pleasure of
viewing that,
but yeah.
It's so good. It's so stupid, but it's good.
Yeah. All right, well, do you have any more comedy movies you'd like to touch on or actors you want to hit real quick?
Not really anything off the top of my head. I think we've kind of just covered everything. Oh, I don't really even know what I want to say about this person, but they've never been mentioned so far in the episode, and I figure we should at least say their name once. Jack Black.
Jack Black. Yeah, School of Rock, Nacho Libre. What's that like, what's that movie you showed me that was like him and Michael Cera as cavemen?
Oh, yeah. Like 1000 BC or something like that? Yeah. I don't even know. I don't remember what it was called. It was something like that.
I think he kind of has the like Kevin James effect of like just the way he plays the characters that he's given makes it really funny, but also like the characters he plays a lot are just really ridiculous.
Oh, I remember what it was called. It was called Year One. That's what it's called.
Yeah. So yeah, we can't leave out Jack Black because Jack Black's very funny. And too, like in movies like Jumanji, he's pretty great in that.
I think that just about does it.
Alrighty. Well, this has been the My Opinion Podcast, episode 19. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.